Unfortunately, I misplaced my tripod mount. Cut around like this. It's propped up on jack stands right now, so this ramp is up as far as it can possibly be. In the front here, this is about equal. This actually might be even a little bit lower than the front here. And that's all the better that's going to get. It's because they have a piece of angle welded underneath her. The problem we got is this handle doesn't want to move all the way. It's like this. It's because it's hitting right there. And looking straight down, it looks to me like this piece is bent back. Both of them. So I'm going to heat it up right here and then tweak it forward and so we can get full range of motion with this handle when this trailer is in the closed position. It's straightened right out. Kicker on one side from here to here so it doesn't do that again. But before I do that, I think I'm going to face grind this and fill this all in where it's worn out. And then fill in those hooks. She's buckled in down there. I think I'm going to cut this. Maybe heat it. See if I can beat that straight. It's actually buckled on both sides a little bit. I'm hoping straightening it helps straighten this bar out a little bit. Been heating and beating on this thing for about an hour, both sides. I got it to where there's like no tension on it. Or not much. Clean all this up now. And weld a plate here around that collar to try to stiffen that area up. Let me see if I can get the other side done before it starts raining over here. Now I'm going to fill in all the missing metal there and here on both sides. We'll lift it with the forklift and just keep filling in metal and grinding it until we got it fit for a perfectly closed fit. Needs more fill though to dress it up. So I'm just going to keep chipping away at this up and down until I get it just how I want it. Since I straightened out those plates, that bottom doesn't fit there anymore either. I think I'm going to put a couple kickers in from here to the front of this ramp so those plates can't bend backwards like that again. I just put one in. I didn't have enough metal to do two. So one on each side. On to the next project. We have a battery box that has a charger built into it. And then this is for all the lighting and the brakes, electric brakes for the wheels. It's like a terminal center. There's a breakaway that this battery applies brakes to the wheels if that tether gets broke. They originally had it here. And that battery juice like leaked out and severely rusted this whole area. But there's actually more rust coming through. This project's taking too long and the weather is getting right through this primer. I need to get this wrapped up and painted. So as him and Han were to mount this, so this is actually a terrible spot because when the decking's over it, you can't get at it. Then I realized I could mount both these pieces on a single piece of plate. So I'm just going to run a piece of plate on this side of this. From here to that angle down there, and should be big enough to mount one of these on each side of it. It's like a piece of 1/8 inch plate. I was going to weld a piece of angle iron here, but it seems like it's rigid enough. Time to fit all these grommets right now into these holes. Looks like they torch cut all our holes out. So if anything's loose, I'll add weld in there, grind it down, and try and get a good snug fit. I'm going to call that one good. My hole's fitting a little bit tighter than their hole, but I mean, I don't think that's going anywhere. Decided I gotta be able to carry a spare tire on this trailer. I finally ordered one of these jobs for measuring rim thickness. I know the diameter of the rim. I also have to measure backspace so I can get another rim on order. It's saying it's like between 6 and 6.5. I searched high and low on the internet for a rim like this in a 6.5 inch wide. Couldn't find one, but plenty of 6s. It's an 8-hole on a 6.5 inch bolt circle. Looks like it has roughly a 4 3/4 inch pilot. Studs that were the same thread. A couple lug nuts too. Looks to be a 1/2 inch stud. So I'm drill a 1/2 inch hole here and here. Then I'll press these studs in the plate. That way I can pound them out if I feel like it at some point, or if it's needed for clearance. I wish I had a tripod. Let's see if this fits. Repurposing this piece of metal for this. Got it on there as square as I'm going to get it. And this is a balancing act because I have to have the bottom of the tire above the wood deck. And the top of the tire's got to clear this bucket rack. Just put a straight edge across the tire. I got 4 5/8. I'm going to call it 3/4. And that'll be my buffer. I have to add 2. Put the tire on it. I'm thinking once the deck is on, you do a Sharpie on it, there should be enough room to slip a bucket underneath it, I hope. Because I decided to put a kicker on it, make it good and robust. I'm thinking it's high enough, I could probably adapt a winch on here. I wanted to pull a non-op car up. I might go over the top of that when it's fully up. Myself right now, why didn't I put the spare tire right here on this side so it wouldn't interfere with the cargo hung box? I want somewhere to put my chains and binders and stuff, and I wanted it all the way back. There just wasn't enough room here to fit a spare tire. I thought about bumping it forward, but I decided to go with this plan instead. Probably could have made something that goes on one of these jobs, probably for like back here. So it probably wouldn't have been a bad idea. Have the spare tire right here. We'll see how this does. If it gets my way, I'll just cut it off and move it. I need to weld this tongue box on. I figure I better paint this area here first before I do so, otherwise I'll never be able to get in there. I'm going to paint the back of this box too. I'm not even going to primer it. I've just wiped this down with acetone. We'll see what happens. Mount for my tripod too. These come in all different sizes. This one was 41 millimeter. So we can start bringing you some better shots. I'm just gonna go with this Farm Implement Red. I'm gonna try a pour spout, the first for that. And last time I thinned with mineral spirits. This time I'm gonna try acetone. A viewer commented in the last video that he goes 2 parts paint to 1 part acetone. That seems more realistic to me. But I'll mix it up like that. We'll see how runny it is in here. That stuff's pretty thick right now. I'm just going to use my primer gun that's got the biggest nozzle. Don't want to paint much today, just a little bit. A hell of a lot thinner than that epoxy primer. Seems like it's coming out pretty good. Sit for just a minute. There's 2 coats on that. This is a couple coats in the front here. I don't know, looks good enough to me. I might just try to spray the whole thing like that. We'll see what happens. I was going to paint this in a paint booth, but I just don't want to spend the time moving it around, so I'm going to shoot it right here and get it over with. Seems to me like that actually laid on there pretty darn good for what it is. Chinese box had a big bowl in the back, so I'm using a ratchet strap here to suck it tight to this, weld it across the top and then down that way. I welded a hasp on this box, I'll show you why. So they got this durable latching mechanism here. completely bent now. In box tubing now, where they had all their box tubing for the conduit. I do a little bit different. I might use a couple chunkers here and piecemeal together.
Next time buy a vehicle that's all, or a trailer that's all done. When you buy something cheap and you gotta put a bunch of work in it, you gotta value your own time. And this is a lot of work. He's put tons of work into this already. And just the cutting and the grinding and the welding and all that stuff. But once it's all done, we'll be able to move vehicles around and move stuff from one property over to the other, and you gotta have it to get it done. So in the long run, it's done cheaper than what he could have bought it for, but you gotta value your own time. Well, from the cutting, sometimes you undercut the metal, and when you grind it flat, then you fill the divots, and then you grind them flat, and then when the fenders go on, she'll fit flush.
The old fenders were centered between the wheels, so we centered the new fender and installed the top of it at the same height as the old fender.
These are better looking fenders. If you come over here and show them, they got the sculptured look to them, you know, where they come down in the center here. They're better looking. The other ones were all rotted. They had a patch on the top, so this will clean that all up.
The inside of this fender actually comes down farther than the other one. We're going to notch it for this brace. If you put a brace in the center there, go ahead and hit it one.
See, and they wobble. So we're gonna put some corner braces. This is the fattest metal we had, and tie in the corners so these things aren't gonna fatigue. I mean, if we're driving long distances and these fenders are vibrating, they're gonna break at the welds. So we want to make them more stiff. The rust was knocked off as good as it could. There's still some pits and stuff that are going to re-emerge later on, but this trailer will last him his lifetime, and it looks pretty good going down the road, so it won't be embarrassing like a beat up old trailer. And he's going to make it last. Now we got to put deck boards on it. We still got to finish this rack. There's a stud we got to get out that's froze in there, but now this is the time where that forklift that I thought was a waste of money, it's makes everything nice, so we can elevate it to the height that you want to work, and you're not bent over on your knees, and we'll work on it right at our right level.
So this was Rust-Oleum International Harvester Red. 2 parts paint to 1 part acetone. Thanks for the tip, Louis. Worked out. Took about 4 hours to paint, and then painting underneath it was absolutely miserable because it was dumping on the tarp, and so
it's all in your hair.
Probably missed a couple spots. I see I missed a spot right there.
But when you raise it, you'll see more. Another thing to consider when you take on a project, and everybody goes, "Oh, I could do that," and as you're working, these are all the consumables that got used up on this job. And what were there? 18?
It was like 20.
20 grinding stones, and a flap wheel, and a wire wheel, and a lot of labor. You know, like before we'd be on the ground, we grind this center punch. Now it's right here, and it makes life really nice for us.
Yeah, I bought these fork extenders. We got 2 machines we can use these on now, but these did the trick for this.
That's all that oil we're putting. She just broke off.
Yeah. Just blow it out with the torch.
Sure. So it was just a Nurko in the way. I would have never had this much patience. I would have just burned off the nut and started from scratch. Sounds like we're at the zoo. Well, that worked out good.
Good enough for this trailer.
So that was some pretty straight cutting with the cutting torch. We stayed steady at it all day long. It was 8 hours. There's probably guys that work faster, but it's all in paint now. You see the spare tires up there. You got a toolbox where you can throw all your chains and stuff.
Chinese box. Sure, burnt some paint off, but we got these are Chinese hammers. Unfortunately, they're peerless, but they have a folding handle, so you can store them in there easy. So we get 3 chains in here and some ratchet straps.
And you got a friend that's gonna give you some slings. So there's soft slings go around the axle on a car or through the A-arm, and then you run the chain through the sling, and then you're not scratching everything up.